Oh, all right, guys. How are you today? So, I titled this Healing Part 2 You Only Owe Yourself. And you know why I say you only owe yourself? Because humanity, I'm not going to just put this on black women. Humanity has this issue with this love and light type of mentality. I don't have anything against love. I would like to understand more of that light part. That light sounds a lot like New Age stuff, and it sounds like a different version of religion. But the love part, people don't even understand what love is. Love is a frequency, and love really is about you loving yourself. Love and it's not, you know, for me, love is the divine love. Reaching your divine self. Merging with your divine self. Not just loving other people and you know more than you love yourself. Because I've said this before, if you lack any kind of self love, then you don't really have love because you lack love for yourself. And so if you don't love yourself, and then you give whatever you have to other people, and then they're not putting anything back in you, then you are you're in lack. Okay, you're a sacrifice. You're in lack. Okay, you're without. Okay, so that's not good. That's somebody who is deficient. That person is deficient, love deficient. You know how they say iron deficiency. That person is love deficient. They don't have love. Okay, but I want to get to you only owe yourself. So I was talking about how people, humanity period, have this love and light type of mentality. Even though I don't agree, I always agree with that love and light. If the people who constantly want to preach that mess, if they actually practice it themselves, this world will look a lot different. So I know for the most part, a lot of these people don't know what the heck they're saying, because if they really believe what they were saying, if they really practice it, the world would be so much different. The world would be so much different. And you know what? At least the people who run this world wouldn't even be in control because they're too low vibrational. I don't know how much money they have. Their vibration can only go so high. And that's why they do so many things with all this programming to make people crazy, because they can't vibrate high. And so they make sure everybody else go crazy. So that's how I know that a lot of these people that love and light don't really believe what the heck they're saying. Okay? But I want to get to how you only owe yourself. Because like I say this, okay, if you've been I'm just going to use an example because this is an example a lot of us are already aware of. If you grew up with a psychologically abusive mother, you could have had a mother that's physically abusive. You could have had a mother that let her husband or her boyfriend or her brother sit there and molest you as a child, and she did nothing to protect you. And then when you finally decide to speak up, you get the courage when you're older, because when you're a child, you don't understand what's going on. And then as you grow up, you're still trying to process what the heck happened to you. And it's funny because, especially if you've been molested like that as a little child, like toddler years, you almost don't process what the heck happened to you until you almost grow. And so when you finally speak about you grown, people say, well, why you wait so late? Because it happened to her when she was 4, 5. She barely knew what was going on. She just learned how to speak, okay? It wasn't too long when she started walking. But you telling her, why did she wait so long? Because she couldn't process nothing at 5 years old. The people and their lack of compassion is just ridiculous. And I say that because people say that a lot, but they say it especially when it comes to little black girls, because they did not say it with these white women and Harvey Weinstein. They did not say it with a lot of these, well, they said it with a lot of these white women and Bill Cosby, but you see what happened to him still. They finally got him, okay? So, yeah. And so I use the example of the mother growing up with a psychologically abusive mother, could be physically abusive, a mother who just didn't protect you. What the Love and Light crew, and I'm just using the Love and Light crew as an example, will guilt you into forgiveness. Now, I'm just going to tell you what I feel like forgiveness is, because I feel like at this point, forgiveness is not, well, I tell you what, I'm going to say what unforgiveness is. Unforgiveness to me is not holding on to bitterness. Releasing bitterness and anger is different from forgiveness to me. Forgiveness means that you have absolved them of their wrongdoing. Like loan forgiveness, when you are completely forgiven of your loan, your school loans, you don't have to pay any school loans back, do anything. And so for me, that type of forgiveness, that person don't have any repercussions for what they've done. They don't have to apologize. They don't have to do anything for all of their done. So I feel like for me, releasing bitterness and resentment is not the same as forgiveness. That releasing bitterness doesn't mean I absolve them of their wrongdoing, but that's just how I feel about forgiveness. Everybody else can have their own definition. Okay, and so these people guilt you with this love and light, and they want to talk about how, oh well, your mother has been abused too, she's been through things too, so now they guilt you because your mother might have been, and this is just an example, people might have fathers that have done something, or might have spouses that have done something, but I can't cover everybody, so I'm just using the mother as an excuse, because that is a huge problem, especially amongst Black women. It's their mothers. It's their fathers too, but a lot of the problems between Black women, come from this poor relationship with their mothers. It really does. And so, people guilt you saying that, she's been through a lot, hurt people. That is so popular. Hurt people. I understand. I get what you're saying, but that does not mean I have to keep putting up with that foolishness. I have my own shadow to deal with. You can't deal with nobody else's shadow. You got to work with your own shadow. You cannot deal with nobody else's. You will kill yourself trying to deal with your mother's shadow too. Okay? So regardless of what your mother might have been through, in her life, if she had been through something similar, and so she projected all her anger on you and pushing everything that she been through as a child because she wasn't protected, so she gonna just beat you down and psychologically abuse and physically abuse you and make your life a living hell because nobody protected her. It's not you got to work on your own healing. You got to work on your own. And the reason why I bring this up, because I've heard people say this to me before. Well, your mother's been through, she might have been through things. I don't care what she been through. I don't care what she been through. And I don't say that out of anger. I don't care what she has been through. I am focused on getting myself together, and I don't have any room to worry about what she done been through as a child, because it's up to her to seek her own healing, and so we can stop making excuses for all of these Black women that don't seek healing. My mother, for an example, is a doctor, so she can identify everything that's wrong with everybody else. She wrote prescriptions for everybody else. She's been a doctor for everybody else. But see, if you ever looked at that movie called Why Did I Get Married with Tyler Perry, Janet Jackson was the main one that was crazy. This cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs was Janet Jackson. And didn't she play a psychologist in that movie? It was either psychologist or a psychiatrist. It was one of those. Psychiatrist is the one that, prescribe medication. Psychologists really can't prescribe medication. So, so wasn't Janet Jackson the main one that was just crazy how it ended with her husband? I think it was Why Did I Get Married Part 2, where he was killed in a car accident. Because they kept fighting because she wouldn't open up. Okay? But all the Tasha Smith, the ghetto one, she got everything off her chest. She said what she needed to say. So the thing I'm saying is that the victimhood of Black women not having access to healthcare, and Black women not this, and Black women, that's not the truth. Black women have this thing where they feel like certain ones, especially professionals like the character Janet Jackson played in that movie, and for example, my mother, they can recognize that there's something wrong with other people, but they don't want to see it within themselves. And with a lot of Black women, period, especially the older generation of Black women, oh no, it was shunned to suffer from depression and anxiety. That was shunned. That it was okay to have heart disease, because a lot of Black people suffer from heart disease. That's okay. You're okay with heart disease. You're okay with diabetes. That is accepted amongst Black people, but you cannot have a mental illness. It just can't happen. Okay. So I don't want to get too far off the point though. Yeah, so you only owe yourself. You only owe yourself. Just because your mother, like I said, I'm just using her as an example because for some people it could be a different people. But obviously, I won't have the time to touch on every single person that it might be because a lot of people have different experiences. So yeah, so the mother, it's not your responsibility to heal her. She has to seek healing for yourself. You can't put what she needs inside of you. And after she done traumatized you through your childhood and now your adulthood, and then you both have this codependency problem. It's a codependency problem now. She can't let you go, but then every time you come around her, she got something negative to say. It's all that projection because she really her disappointment and not being protected and her not, like I said, not able to release bitterness. She has not released her bitterness and she put it on the child. She's gotten to a point of hating herself and she projects it on the closest thing to her, which just might be her daughter. She projects her self-hatred onto the daughter. And then you get these people, if you decide to go tell somebody to try to get any advice from them, that's why I say go within. A lot of times you talk to people, they make you even crazier. I'm not trying to be funny. You talk to some people, they make you even crazier. So so you talk to somebody else and they'll say, well, she's been through X, Y, and Z and try to understand where she come from. No. She sat there and allowed you to be raped multiple times through your childhood and adolescence. She psychologically abused you. No. No room for understanding. No room for understanding her. Okay, you have to seek your own healing, and this is not about no judge. And then people want to say, "Oh, well, don't judge her." You can judge what she did to you. You can't judge her life because you didn't walk a day in her shoes, but you can judge what she did to you. You can judge that, and the reason why I say you can judge that because it's up to you to decide what you're going to deal with, what you're going to put up with, what you're going to allow into your life. That's up to you to decide. But before you decide, you have to make some kind of judgment. It doesn't mean you're judging her personal life from the day she was born. That ain't got nothing to do with it. People in that false light just really make me want to vomit. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to end this here. But yeah, so this is just healing part 2. It's in no particular order. So just because I say part 1, part 2 doesn't mean it's in any particular order. It's just something that came across my mind, and it's just a series. Okay, like it's a type of series, but in no order of importance. Okay, so yeah, you're only responsible for yourself. If somebody continues to want to victimize you, traumatize you, psychologically abuse you, but you're left to try to feel sorry for them because they might have been through some childhood trauma, so you're supposed to sit there and feel sorry for yourself instead of doing what's right for you. You got to turn around and feel sorry for him or her. I was talking about the mother as an example, and constantly put yourself in a position where this person constantly steals your energy because they are energy vampires. So you got to constantly put yourself in a position where this person constantly takes your energy because of this false light. No. And it doesn't even mean that you have to hate them. I don't hate anybody. I don't want to waste any energy. You know what? How I feel? I'm neutral. But I'm neutral because I decide to take action into what belongs to me. I'm going to get what belongs to me if I feel like I really should get what belongs to me. Okay? And I'm not going to care how it happens because I'm neutral. I have no option. So the best way to be with people like that is neutral. And I'm gonna get into another segment of just being alone and getting away. And that's why I was talking about how I take issue with Black women being pushed to constantly be in relationships. Okay, being pushed to constantly. Now I can see if you see a lot of Black women in negative environments, they're in bad situations with men. Okay, I can see you encouraging them to try to get out that situation. But once they get out of it, they need to detox. Please do not encourage these women to get into another relationship too soon. Okay, because I just see the shame in Black women being single. Black women, women period, people period. I just say Black women, but it's people period, who have gone through a level of trauma like that since childhood and then dealing with psychological abuse from their family, should not be encouraged to rush into no relationship with nobody, because the only thing they're going to do is bring somebody else who's broken. And then they're going to have to, instead of them focusing on themselves, they're going to have to focus on that other person. And they're going to put in all that focus on this other person and continue to neglect themselves. That's why I say I cannot encourage a lot of people who are who've gone through things that are just traumatic like that to just rush into some relationship. I can't encourage it. So that's why I don't just down people who don't have these boyfriends and fiancés and husbands. I don't put them down because some of them just don't need it. Some of them don't want them. Some of them don't want to be bothered. Some of them like their freedom. But a lot of them just don't need to be bothered. A lot of them need to be alone. I'm going to get into that because I don't want to get off the point of you are only responsible for yourself. I don't want to get off of that because this will go too long merging into different topics. But yeah, you're only responsible for yourself. Whatever somebody else has been through, it's not your problem. Now, I mean, of course, if you have kids or something, of course, you have a responsibility to them. They're your children. That is something different. I'm talking about somebody who has literally caused you pain, so and somebody who's considered to be close to you, like your mother or your brother, somebody like that. And then you get these false light people who want, because they're blood, because they're considered to be blood, you're somehow supposed to try to keep getting over the stuff that they do to you. You're supposed to keep getting over it. Okay, and think about what they've been through. Whatever they've been through ain't your problem at that moment, because you got to work on healing for yourself. So whatever they done been through ain't your doggone problem. But anyway, that will be it, you guys. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon.